Hi besties, I am still in sunny Tobago, loving life, and this trip has been the longest trip that I have stayed here, actually anywhere else. I've never been away from home for more than like a couple of weeks, and I've been here for about a month, and I'm going to be here for about another week and a half or so. And what I'm really happy about is my decision to move away from the US and live here in Tobago because it's such a beautiful country and it's friendly. It has the right vibe for me. Like the culture fits with my worldview, my personality, everything that I believe in. So I'm really happy about my decision, and I just wanted to, encourage anybody else who is considering leaving the U.S., especially after this past week of events. Right now, this is January the 12th, and all hell broke loose back on January the 9th or so. And it continues to go straight to hell in a handbasket because too many people in our country have failed us. And I'm just gonna have to say it. White people prioritized racism or the price of eggs over people's lives. They thought that these horrific acts by the state weren't going to touch them, that they were safe because of their skin color. And the thing about it is, I've been watching a lot of videos online, and people have been saying, well, I don't want to say I told you so. Well, let me just tell you, I would love to say I told you so to them, because we told them so. Kamala Harris told them so. So many times I have said that unless all of us are free, none of us are free. If they're treating some of us badly, it's only a matter of time until they treat us all badly. And it took them such a long time to learn that lesson now that they, murdered a white woman in cold blood, an innocent woman who was just doing what she felt was right, wasn't threatening anybody. She was no terrorist. And they just killed her and they got away with it. And I really don't have much faith that justice will be served. I really don't, because the other thing that I think that people are failing to realize is that all of the mechanisms that we had to allow justice to take place have been compromised. And so I hear a lot of people talking about, just wait till the midterm elections, we'll vote them out and he'll get impeached, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? Okay, we are at the point now where we have an executive branch that does not follow any laws. So when a new Congress, let's just say there's a clean blue wave, sweep all of the Republicans out, and it's just Democrats in, even though that's in itself is another issue. But anyway, even if they were able to remove the orange clown from the White House, how would it happen? Unless there's a physical way to remove this clown, he's not gonna leave. I don't know why everybody thinks that magically he's gonna start following laws. He's not. He hasn't, and he's not. His previous administration, he demonstrated what he was gonna do. And this administration, he replaced everybody who stopped him from doing those things with people who will encourage those things. So let me just tell you something. If you're out here and you're relying on the midterm elections to save us, it's not going to happen. Now, I'm not a psychic. I can't tell you what will happen. I don't have a lot of faith that things will turn around for the better during my lifetime, because next week not next week, in a few days I'll be 56. And so I chose to live this part of my life in peace. I was a fighter. I wouldn't say activist, because I wasn't really like the head of a formal organization or anything like that, but I always participated. I was always marching downtown. My daughter was young. I always had her in the little baby backpack, and I took her with me, and we always did these things. And even protesting right now, I don't think is effective. Again, I can't tell you what is effective or what will be effective, but marching is not, because they just don't care. And until America realizes that the only way that you can make any difference is to affect somebody's pocketbook or their actual physical being. So if you're not going to physically pick somebody up and haul them off to jail, or you're not going to make them go broke, here we are, and this is where we're going to stay. So that all said, back to the good thing of living in sunny Tobago, I have had the opportunity to really think about whether or not I could actually live here and what would get on my nerves. Because there's no perfect place. Every place will get on your damn nerves, and including where I live, where I'm coming from, Washington D.C. I loved Washington D.C. I chose to live in Washington D.C. More than 30 years ago because I wanted to live around Black people. I wanted to live in the chocolate city. And while it's no longer the chocolate city, it's still a beautiful city. It's extremely gentrified, and there are things, some of the things that I used to enjoy and love about DC, I'm not enjoying and loving about DC now, either because they don't exist anymore or because I may have outgrown them. So between the two of them things, that helped me make a decision to leave a city that I really adopted as my hometown for a really long time, and I still consider it to be my hometown. It's a beautiful city, but it's time for change. And I feel like moving to the Caribbean is just an absolute dream come true. It's something that 2 years ago, if you would have said, oh, you're gonna be moving to the Caribbean and living near the beach and blah, 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 and retire from your job, I would have been like, no, that's not true. But circumstances just came one after another, and here we are, and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that I had this opportunity, because there was a few times that I decided that I would like to leave the US and it just wasn't possible. And even right now, the plan that I have, it's a good plan, but it's still scary. I guess unless you have like won the lottery and you have like a fat bank account, it is scary. But I know that may not ever come true. And for me to pass up this opportunity just because of fear would be a tragedy. And so if you're out there, you're thinking about doing something, it doesn't even have to be moving out of the country. It could be moving to a different city or having a different career or something like that. Really think about the opportunity cost of putting up with and staying with what you already have and are doing, and whether or not it is worth it to take a risk and step out there to make possibly your dreams come true. So yesterday we went and looked at a rental house, which I don't want to jinx it, I don't want to tell y'all too much information, but I'm hopeful today that I'll find out some good news about renting a house that is close to the beach, where I can walk to the beach. That is a dream come true. I didn't think that would happen in my lifetime again, because I used to live in Florida and on a military base, and it was close to the beach, and I never thought that I would be able to get back to that life. I dreamed about it, and I made, how you just daydream at work and you think, oh gosh, if I could do this, that, the other, and if I could just manage to retire, which I'm not even retiring in the most traditional sense of it. I'm basically quitting my job, taking my retirement, and using it as a kickoff point to my own businesses that will earn enough money to live a decent life here. Because if I had to wait until I had enough money for retirement, I'd just work till I die, and that is not in my plan. So the key here is to think about things from your own point of view, and don't be taken by other people's fears, and not be afraid to do things in a way that is not traditional. Because right now, the way things are set up, most of us can't do, especially in terms of a retirement, can't retire in a traditional way because it's just not enough money. Back in the day, when they used to have a pension, which was nice, you could, just work for 30 years and then you could retire and you would have enough money to live on. That's not the case anymore. Now our money goes into, we have to put our own money into some volatile accounts that at various different times during just my lifetime have been obliterated by market forces, and just too bad for you. There's nothing about it. And then on the other hand, they also lock up your money so that you don't have access to it. And that's part of the issue that I have right now. But luckily for me, because I'm over 55, I can, if I separate from my employer, I can take out that money, and hope to God they don't have no red tape in my way, because this is it. This is it. So I'm seriously disappointed in the United States with what's happening right now, and I'm fearful for the people that I'm leaving behind. My family, my friends. Many of my friends have plans to leave too, and they will soon. But I really worry about what is going to happen, because things that we have been taught all our lives in school, that these things could never happen, and they're happening. Like, I knew that back in the day when I went to law school, it was not legal for people to just pull you over in a car because your skin is brown. Now, not only can they pull you over with no suspicion of any crime or any violation, snatch you out the car, kidnap you, detain you, and send you to some country. That was unheard of. And I think that America is drastically underreacting to what's going on right now. Because we were taught all this time the freedom and liberty for all, that this couldn't happen, and it's happening. And just because it's not happening where you live at this time, or it's not happening to people who look exactly like you, does not mean that it's not on the horizon. So I hope that people who are left behind are really taking this seriously and trying to think of some different ways to deal with it, because I personally don't think that marching in the street is going to get you anywhere. Okay, marching in the streets, all they coming with the damn tear gas and shit, and threatening people and things like that, and then they just continue. They don't care. That only worked for when there was a facade of morality. There used to be a facade of morality. The world is watching, and nobody wanted the world to see them committing all kinds of atrocities against their own people and things like that. But now that's all up in smoke. They don't give a fuck. So we better come up with something different. And I hope that happens quickly. And again, I really feel like it hurts me, because we told you so. We told you so. This was so predictable. The woman who was killed in Minneapolis, that was so predictable. Absolutely. We said it. Yeah, they're going to keep doing this. They're going to start doing it to immigrants, and as soon as a white person, until it happens to a white person, then everybody's going to be up in arms. It might be too late. And I kind of feel like it is too late. I don't think that we can recover, because none of the mechanisms that will allow a recovery are functioning properly. So I know I'm just kind of breezing over things, but I don't feel like giving a history and law lecture here, because that's not what I do. What I do is encourage Black women to take control of our lives and commit to our own happiness, whatever that means. We have been taught to fight for others, to provide for others, to care for others until we die. And now we're realizing that that's a losing game, because when do we ever get what it is that we deserve? And it doesn't mean that you have to neglect anyone, or that you have to don't do what you think is right. But what it does mean is put a limit on it, and create some boundaries, and make a decision about when you're going to be able to live and love and laugh the way that you deserve to do it, whatever that means. For me, it means getting the fuck out and moving to Tobago. But for you, it might just mean, you know, leaving your job early to start a business, or it might mean doing some other, you know, moving to a place in the US that's a little bit more safe, or it could mean just adjusting your life so that you're not working so much, so that you have more leisure time to relax and, you know, whether you like to garden or you like to knit or you like to do whatever you like to do, making time now for it and not feeling guilty for it, because that guilt is the number one thing that keeps us from living our lives the way that we really should. It seems like every other group of people is allowed to create the lives that they want, and we just happen to be at the bottom of this patriarchal and racist hierarchy and brainwashed into thinking that we have to do certain things that we don't. And so you really have to stop and think about what really is holding you back, because I thought that my job, I thought, you know, well, I can't leave my job. Well, I don't need to make as much money living here as I do there, and I can make enough money, I can make plenty of money doing my own businesses to live an even better life. And that is the key to this decision, because I have lots of people in my life who are afraid, going, oh my God, you're just gonna up and leave the country. But when I think about it, either I'm gonna work until I die, or I will just struggle and you know, try to make ends meet with not enough money in the U.S. or, you know, I shouldn't say the U.S. I guess in the parts of the U.S. that I would like to live in, because there are parts of the U.S. that I will never live in that I could possibly afford, but I'm not doing that. But why not? Now here, I don't need a lot of money for entertainment, although there is plenty of entertainment. Let me tell you, every single day there's some sort of fun going on. Yesterday was election day for local people in Tobago, and there was a major celebration last night just out on the Esplanade, which is like a public area. And there was music and dancing and celebrating and all kinds of noise and things like that. It is just wonderful. And then, you know, I have the beach. I can just go to the beach. The house that I'm hoping will be renting is walking distance to the beach. So it's not like I don't need to go to fancy restaurants. I don't need to go to a club. I've been out of the club scene for a long time now. But I can just walk on down to the beach and chill there all day. And, you know, for peace of mind, it's priceless. You know, back in the States, I was having headaches like every day or every other day. And since I've been here, I have had no headaches at all. Well, except New Year's Day, because New Year's Eve, we had a good time. So this was the right decision for me. And what I'm by no means saying that everybody should make this decision, but what I am saying is that everybody should make a decision and thoroughly, you know, research it and see how feasible it is to you. And when you're looking at feasibility, don't take into consideration other people's fears or things that are no longer true. There are plenty of things that we just kind of hang on to that are no longer true, like the whole retirement scam. That's no longer true. You're not retiring. I don't know what you will be, a Walmart greeter or something, but you can change course at any time. All it takes is a decision and to do it. So that's my message for today, and I'm gonna head to the beach, and see you later.